And where do you see OnlyFans going with this? Because we discussed it in the beginning regarding how these women are making money. Do you see OnlyFans becoming this completely normal social media, I guess you would call it, to society, or do you think it's something that'll just fade off and die eventually?
My tendency is to think, just based on history, that it will come and go the way other trends and fads have come and gone, and something else will replace it. I mean, that's the nature of TikTok, is that the trends come and go so fast that you can barely keep up with them now. This phenomenon's been around for a while now. Do you guys know how long OnlyFans has been around?
Well, OnlyFans originally started off as a completely different platform. I think it was more of like an office-based type of
Mhm.
sharing platform, and people began to use it for other reasons. Again, when
That's
when you think of OnlyFans, it's not only sex on there. There's a lot of other things. There's a lot of other um, I don't know what you would call it. There was a lot of other
fan base for
content.
whatever you want. Yeah,
There's a lot of
Yeah.
different type of content on there. It's been depicted that OnlyFans is now made for sex.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, there's people that have their feet on there, and people pay money to.
Oh yeah,
view.
foot fetish is the number
Yeah,
one fetish
foot-
in the world.
Is it number one?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, it's insane. And
Wow.
there was this one woman where she began with her feet,
Mhm.
and then she slowly made her way up to her knees, and she was making millions of dollars a year. And it got to the point where she sat down with her husband and said, I think we can make X amount of dollars if we
Go full body.
go full body.
Right.
And long and behold, the husband agreed to it. The money started rolling in. And the next thing you know, it's not only full body, but it's full face, full body.
Mm.
There's acts going on.
Is that the teacher who was making 42,000 and
I
now
believe
makes 2
so.
million a year?
I believe so. I believe it's that one. So at the end of it, when you look at it, money is the root of all evil.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's where that saying comes from, is that now you can buy and sell anything. That's becomes the currency in our culture. And where does that take us ultimately? I don't know.
See, how will that affect your children in the future? See, there's that porn star and her husband, Lena the Plug and Adam 22, where they have a very open relationship to the point where it's online constantly.
Right.
And they have a child.
Yeah, that's disturbing, isn't it?
So when it's online, it's online. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, your kid eventually is going to grow up and is going to stumble upon that, or somebody from school is going to bring it up and say,
For
"Hey,
sure.
listen, did you see this? Is this your mom and dad?"
Well, he's sort of a modern day version of the kid that you met when you were, 9 years old.
Yeah.
So, what is that going to do to that child traumatically?
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, we can speculate about it. I don't think it's good. I don't think he's going to know much of who he is and where he belongs in the world. And she will probably, go into the family business. I mean, we do what we know.
Ouch.
And I mean, that's as common as it's becoming today. To me, that's less concerning than all the sexual confusion and the gender confusion that's going on in schools.
I think they play hand in hand together. It's two different topics, but they're both as evil as it comes.
No, I'm not saying one is more or less evil. What I'm saying is, how many people do we know that are parents that are on OnlyFans or have their own podcast where they're having sexual relationship with other people and posting it?
Well, you'd be surprised because we're not on it to see it.
No. Let's say if there's 10,000, today we have tens of millions of kids in school who are being confused at a younger and younger age as far as, listen, kid, you're a girl, you're a boy, you could switch around whenever you want, you can identify as anything you want. And how is that going to affect their sexuality down the road? Because this is all happening at an age where they're finding themselves, and then comes puberty, they're not going to have the testosterone growth or the estrogen growth properly to become healthy adult men or women.
Yeah, the puberty blockers.
Now, even without the
Without
blockers,
that, yeah.
right? We were talking about how the book you're reading off the show, what was it called? The How to Raise
Upbringing boys, upbringing girls.
And you were saying in there how kids have to, For example, boys have to play and they have to fall, they have to hurt
Yeah.
themselves. That's part of their development. So now, let's say a 6-year-old boy or girl, you tell them otherwise, that listen, you can do X, Y, and Z. You don't have to do what boys do, or as a girl, you don't have to do what girls do. That's going to affect their hormones once they hit that age. And to me, that's a bigger concern as to how. And I'd be curious as far as like, I guess it's kind of a new trend,
It's new,
but
right?
yeah. So you probably wouldn't have
No,
anybody that's like, look, I was confused at 10.
no, not
That's
yet.
why now I'm a porn addict
Mhm.
or whatever the situation is. It's a little too early for that,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that'll just depend on how strong multiple factors, really. The child's genetic encoding, how the parents treat the child, how the parents are, the roles and rules that the parents are enforcing. There are plenty of people, not plenty, I don't know what the number is, but there are people who are having children and they refuse to gender them from birth. They're not giving them, they're calling them a them or they from birth,
Yeah.
just seeing how the child expresses itself one way or the other. So there's no pink or blue assignment from the beginning.
And see, we call that child abuse, but then they call us radicals.
Yeah, I don't know if it's abuse or not. I don't know what to call that
I
other
think it
than
has to be abuse. I mean, you're taking one of the most innocent things in the world and you're confusing them even more than what they're seeing in today's society by telling them that, hey, listen, I know you want to play with these trucks, but try this Barbie doll out as well. Or I know you want to wear that camouflage, uh, those camouflage pants, but here's a tutu as well.
I don't think it's that black and white. I think it would be more like, here's a vast array of things to play with, and play with the things that attract you the most, whether it's a G.I. Joe or a Barbie, or a dress or camouflage, and just let the the child play with and gravitate towards what they find most interesting. I think that's more the notion than what you're talking about would be forcing a child into a particular way of being.
Well, that's where I was going with the child abuse. That's why I was saying there are individuals out there, and they're putting this information out on social media
I see.
where they're forcing a child, or they're adamant that their child is either trans, gay, lesbian, doesn't matter. And
At what age do they?
oh, we've seen these drag kids where it's a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid dressed in drag. I think it was on Good Morning America or
Oh,
one of
wow.
those TV
Yeah, I
shows.
haven't seen that.
And it's appalling because this young boy dressed in drag walks down the aisle like he's a Victoria's Secret model, and you have everybody applauding
Oh,
and
my.
cheering, and you're watching this and saying the parents have failed this child
Hmm.
because this young boy has no idea what's going to happen to him when he hits puberty.
Right. Yeah.
He's going to be completely lost.
He'll be completely confused, because what if that boy genetically is like super masculine? There's a continuum of masculinity and femininity. What if this guy's like super macho? He blossoms into like a linebacker kind of body, and yet he's not connected to that male part of himself.
If boys are surrounded by, for example, athletes who tend to be more masculine, right,
Mhm.
and have a higher testosterone levels, does that directly impact them as well? I forget what it's called, where somebody's energy has either a positive or negative impact on you.
Yeah.
Their
Um,
aura. Yeah.
Well, no, it's adaptation. I think we sort of adapt to what we're around.
Kind of, but there's another term it just slipped my mind. So, do you think these kids, for example, because you mentioned, what if that boy is a overly masculine young boy, and now you're forcing him to be a drag queen
Well,
walking down?
he was a drag queen as a child, and then he hits puberty, and all of a sudden he's much more masculine than what he was dressed up to be.
But do you think that upbringing is going to impact? Because if he was in a neutral family, let's say he would have been, whatever it is, let's say level 5 masculine.
Mhm.
Now that he's had all this uh,
Feminization. Yeah.
feminization, now that he's going to be level 3 masculinity. Not that there's levels. I'm just
Yeah.
saying
Well,
for
there actually
comparison's
is a
sake.
scale, like
Is,
from 1 to 10 or
oh, is there?
something. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that has an impact? And I'm asking that, for
Sure.
example, for instance, I have two boys, both are athletic, and they both are very much involved in sports as
Mhm.
much as they can be for their age. And I wonder if, because then I see other boys their age who are not involved in sports,
Right.
and obviously their physique, certain behaviors are a little bit different.
Sure.
And I wonder, is it that the surroundings that they're in with other masculine boys that's also having an impact on how they're growing up, or
Yes, I mean, I think that there is a validity to that. That if you put a bunch of kittens together and they're all hardy and they're being fed well, they're all going to be hardy and fed well together. But there will still be some that are weaker than others. So you might have boys that are friends of your sons or in your neighborhood, but they're not athletically inclined. Right? They're just not interested, or their bodies are gangly or skinny, but they really love photography or they love drumming, right? They love something else, but they get to develop towards that which they love, as opposed to you must play football. And then that kid who's slight or thin is out there getting beat up.
Yeah.
That's not okay either.